because of the size and power of essentially the world state that we live in now, it's easy to see a free society, to see anarchism as a fairly small threat, which they just so far really just wiped under the table. They've put people in favour of liberty in a minority group, used the mind control they possess over society to make anarchists look bad, make anyone that wants to be free, that goes against their system of rule, goes against being ruled, look awful. I remember there was a time when the Met were asking people to actually report anyone who was in favour of a free society, report anyone that wanted to be free to the police, to the rulers. After a few months, they were forced to withdraw this, as anarchists were saying that they were being discriminated against or criminalised, actually being criminalised for their political belief. So as you can see, anarchism, being in favour of a free society, people that want to be free, are a minority, easily dealt with the methods that are at their hands. But it must not be forgotten that a free society, anarchism, is the fundamental enemy of power and rule. It is the absolute adversary, their worst possible target to destroy, their greatest opposition. And this can be seen as with the colonial genocide that is the British Empire, which grew into the world empire that we live in now of rule. And this genocide can be seen as anarchist societies are targeted and wiped out, because obviously you can't rule an anarchist society. It has to be destroyed, it has to be wiped out, as with the African race was always an anarchist culture, and the genocide against that is well known. As with the Native American Indians, the anarchist races and communities are just simply destroyed, just wiped out on a unspeakable and global scale. So wherever there is a community under rule, or a nation under rule, at one point these were inhabited by anarchist communities. Of course, it was once a free world before the spread of statism and power and the system of rule that we have today. And at one point, the empire would have set out to target anarchist societies who would have been living traditional lives without going down the route of industrialisation with weapons, and they were wiped out one by one with machine guns and guns against they weren't designed designing their society for war, which would have been against primitive weapons. They chose not to go down that route and stay with the traditional free anarchist way of life. So it must be remembered that anarchism is the fundamental enemy of a ruled world, and the ruled world had to wipe out every anarchist community, every anarchist society to exist as it does today. The world is ruled. Every country is under rule, under the world system of statism, government and world power. But at one point these would have been anarchist communities. So while anarchism is just seen as a minor threat now, which can be brushed under the carpet, and anyone that is in favour of being free is often seen as someone that's out to try and make things bad, inciting chaos. I mean, obviously, anarchy is no more chaos any more than a war for liberty means that liberty is war. But this is the level of mind control that we are under. So whilst anarchism just seems like a minor threat, and has been made to seem just as those people are just, oh, that would be anarchy, it's easily in their system, just disregarded in a sentence. Oh no, that would be anarchy. You know, a free society would just be chaos, and that's the end of it. As of course it has to be seen to prevent a free society, because power and rule cannot obviously exist in a free society. So it must be remembered that whilst this is their system, while it has been made to look like just a minor pest, a bunch of criminals, a bunch of hooligans, because obviously the difference between a liberator and a hooligan is violence with popular support. Whilst there's no popular support for being free, because everybody thinks that they are free, obviously then anyone that fights the rulers are just troublemakers, aren't they? So it must be remembered, and the point of making this video is that anarchism is the major threat to a ruled society, which is why they had to travel around the world and wipe out all anarchist communities to make war possible. And this must always be remembered, that anarchism, a free society, is the fundamental enemy of rule.